All right, and we are live. Welcome, guys, to another week of AFC East Summit. I'm your host, Chris of Pats Nation. Of course, I'm joined with these fine gentlemen. We got Jake Podger of Bills Nation. We got Anthony from the Jets, and we got Keith. We got Dolphin Keith, who's right now leading the division of the AFC East Summit, which I say is the biggest surprise of the year to me. But we'll see. Let's talk about it. We have some good games, some good games this week, some big surprises. Let's get into it and discuss it a little bit more. But right after this intro. All right, guys, what a beautiful intro. Always love that. And of course, if you're joining us for the first time, definitely feel free to reach out to comments. We do love the participation in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, share your friends. We do this every Tuesday, 8 o'clock. So we'll love participation. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. And we'll start with the number one seed in the AFC East. Dolphins, Keith, how did you feel about this game this week?
It was a good, solid, hard fought victory. And it was a victory where it should help to prove the naysayers wrong with the Dolphins. They finally have a win against a team with a winning record. They played them tough. They played good defense against one of the top offenses in the league. Moved the ball against one of the top defenses in the league. That didn't manifest itself into touchdowns or anything, but they played a good game and they kept on getting off the mat after getting punched in the mouth. They kind of they held Micah Parsons somewhat in bay. He was the guy that I was concerned about going into this game. And, I was proud. I was proud to be a Dolphins fan on Christmas Eve. Now the naysayers are also going to say that the Cowboys are a terrible road team, which they are. They're 3-5 on the road now. And they're right about that. But for now, you can only take the victories that come to you. And they're going to be looking ahead to the Ravens next week. And that's going to be the Dolphins' true test of the season. But yeah, Finn saw the Bills and said, yeah, the Bills are coming. The Bills are breathing down their necks. So if the Dolphins don't continue to win football games, they're going to let this lead they've had over the AFC East slip through their fingers. So they need to keep it up, keep what they're doing up.
And Keith, as a Dolphins fan, I think we can all agree that you've been the most critical of your team this entire season. Are we still feeling those doubts regarding your team, or you think that they're looking like a contender to make a deep playoff push this year?
Well, you know what? They lost to the Titans, and I wasn't feeling very good.
Running back rookie.
And then I wanted a decisive victory against the Jets, and that's what I got. And then I wanted to win against the Cowboys. They're starting to round into the team that I was hoping they were going to be going into the season. I thought they had a top 10 defense. They didn't show that in the first month of the season. They're starting to show that. I thought they had a top five offense, and for a while there, they weren't showing that. They're starting to show that a little bit more. Jalen Waddle's probably going to be done for the season with a high ankle sprain, so that hurts. But they can persevere. They can get past that. So, yeah, I have been critical, and I think I've been critical because I expected more out of them. Even in their 70-20 victory, it wasn't a complete victory. The 70-20 victory against the Broncos, it wasn't a complete victory in my mind. I wanted more. I expected more because I knew their talent level, made them with their talent level, they should be one of the best teams in the league, and they haven't shown that, and they're starting to show that. So I'm not going to be negative this week. I'm going to be positive because they got a victory against a good football team, and frankly, it's the first time I've done it this season. So All positivity from me today, baby.
That's what I love to hear. That's what I like to hear. I know, especially being a the Dolphins fan, you haven't seen too many positive years. So seeing them lead the division and seeing them as one of the better teams in the NFL, it's got to be a beautiful, refreshing sight for you to see.
Oh, it absolutely is, Chris. Like I said last week, I'm having fun. Even when it seems like I'm coming on here and bashing my team, I'm having a hell of a lot of fun this season. The Dolphins have made the playoffs again. They clinched the playoff berth on Sunday. So it's back-to-back playoff seasons for the Dolphins, and I can't even tell you the last time that happened.
Mhm.
It's been a fun season. It's been it's been the most fun I've had in a really long time as a Dolphins fan.
Yeah, love to hear it. Love to hear it, Keith. And proud of you. I'm happy for you guys. Although of course, I wish every single team in the AFC East would lose if the Patriots don't win. But I'm happy to see that there's positive trends moving forward for the Dolphins, and hopefully this is going to be continue to be a competitive division moving forward. So let's go ahead and get into it with Jake and the Bills. Jake, what do we see this week?
I'll tell you what, I mean, there were multiple times where I thought I was going to have a heart attack Saturday, guys. I mean, it was your classic slow start, insane finish type game, right? I'll tell you what, this Chargers team showed up. And Keith, first off, I want to go back to just talking. I want to give credit where credit's due. Your Dolphins, they took care of business. I was a Cowboys fan for the first time in my life on Sunday, and you guys handled a very good football team. I know they're on a 2-game losing streak. They have now lost to us and to you guys, and it was close. And listen, they're a Hunter Luepke fumble from potentially turning that game around and winning that game instead. But man, you guys held strong, and credit where credit's due. That's still a good football team, Keith, and I think you should be very happy about that. So good stuff, man. The Finns, I'll tell you what, still the team to beat in the AFC East. So
definitely looking like, and sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, Jake. We got a comment from Tom, and he says, Jake, that train behind you is moving a little slower. Bill's got enough steam left?
No, Tom. So now I have it going too slow. At the start of the show, I had that thing freaking zipping, and I couldn't hear. So I had to go lower it, and I lowered the speed a little too much, and now it's like squeaking. I hope you guys can't hear that. Is it loud? Is it coming over?
I can't hear you.
It's not noticeable.
Yeah. There's a little squeaky wheel going on now. I have it going too slow now, so got to find that fine medium. And you know what? This is poetic because this is sort of how the Bills were, right? They had a very fast start. They looked great against the Cowboys. Everything was all fun and dandy. And then we go into Saturday night with super high expectations, going up against a team that just lost to the Raiders and got 63 points dropped on them. And I think everyone expected the Bills to just handily blow this team out. Now, It's always one of those things where it's a trap game because you have a new coach coming in, interim coach. The team's going to be fired up. We don't have any film on this team under this coach, so you don't really know what's going to happen. You don't know what his tendencies are going to be like. You don't know what he's going to try to do. And I think right from the get-go, the Chargers wanted to establish a little bit of physicality with the Bills. They were running the ball very well. They did what they had to do offensively, I think, to sort of manage the game. The time of possession was totally out of control, very one-sided for the Chargers. But then finally the Bills got into a groove, and then you started to see, all right, hey, I think the Bills still, although it was a close game and it came down to a game-winning field goal, the Bills were still the more dominant team. You could tell they just would get these chunk plays that the Chargers just couldn't muster. And again, credit to Sean McDermott's defense for coming up late in the game and figuring it out. I mean, we lost Terrell Bernard for a little bit of about half a quarter in that game too. And, I know Christian Benford went out. Dane Jackson had to come in a little bit. So the fact that this defense continues to step up to the plate, even though we keep losing guys, it's very impressive. So I think you have to at least admire that part. Now, as far as the offense goes, no excuses. I mean, again, we scored 24 points in a game that I thought we'd score 38 in easily. A team just dropped 63 on this team, and I know they're fired up. They're ready to make a name for themselves under this new interim head coach, and players are auditioning for other teams at this point in the season. Their season is done. It's all individual stuff right now. They're looking to get stats. They're looking to kind of make a name for themselves at this point. But man, I just wasn't super thrilled with the performance. I feel like, you win that game, but Sean said it best. He's like, I almost feel like we lost. And it's crazy to say that. I know it's hard to win in the NFL. It's so cliche to say that, but it's like, man, we just like Easton Stick was tearing us apart.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy was absolutely carving us up. Like, are you kidding me right now? I mean, the D-line didn't get penetration until the second half, really. And, this is an offensive line, too, that's very banged up. They're not having as great of a year. Zion Johnson's struggling a little bit. Even Rashawn Slater is not having his best season, and he's still an all-pro left tackle. They lost Will Clapp, their center. This is a team that I thought we would absolutely manhandle. But I will say this. When it mattered most, the defense did step up, and Ed Oliver proved to be the beast he is and proved that he deserved that big extension that he got. So very happy with that. I think Josh obviously still has his moments. He makes that insane throw at the end of the game to Khalil Shakir on 3rd and long. Unbelievable. Again, and Khalil Shakir we thought was going to score a touchdown. Keith, I know you were hoping that he would have scored a touchdown there because maybe the Chargers could have went down and did something after that, but instead the Bills kill clock, end up getting a game-winning field goal. So anyways, a win is a win, but we need to play better down the stretch here, plain and simple. Like we're coming off a very hot streak, right? And I think this Chargers game was kind of like setting us back into reality, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it was kind of an eye-opener, especially for a team that everyone had assumed was kind of done, with the loss of Justin Herbert. So see Easton Stick come out there and kind of carve them up, like you said, it was kind of like an eye-opener. It was a shock for that Bills team, and who have another tough matchup moving forward against the Patriots, who kind of look like they found their footing a little bit. We do got a question. Yeah. We do got a question for Anthony, Tony. Any last chance for Rodgers? Any last chance of Rodgers appearance? And we can go ahead and segue into what you saw this week as well.
No shot. Rodgers is coming back. They've already said it. No shot. How are the Jets this week? It was a tale of two completely different halves. If you'll allow me to indulge for a moment, I'll go ahead and give you how the entire game went. First drive for Washington, interception, field goal Jets, punt block, touchdown Jets, punt, touchdown, punt down or turnover on downs by the Jets, another punt by Washington, punt by the Jets, field goal Jets, punt, fumble recovery, touchdown Washington, touchdown Jets, punt, end of the half. Okay, 27-7. Second half, punt. Washington has the ball, Washington has the ball, throws the interception. Jets have the ball, throw an interception after 3 plays. Touchdown Washington, punt Jets. Touchdown Washington, punt Jets. Touchdown Washington, punt Jets. Punt Washington, field goal Jets, end of game.
Wow. Yeah.
Like you said,
wow.
That's a tale of two halves for sure. And like you said, the Jets were up big early. They were up 27-10 at the halftime. So what happened? What happened to the Jets?
They packed it in the second half. Typical Robert Saleh ball. Let's just put it on the D. Just run the football. Protect the rock.
Mm-hmm.
So they came out in the half and just handed it off. And then handed it off. And then handed it off. And then punted. And then, they get into the punt fest. And all of a sudden, Washington goes to Jacoby Brissett. And suddenly, your whole offense is already sort of deflated. Like, they know that they're just trying to kill the clock. Jacoby Brissett marched them down the field. 3 straight drives. Touchdown. He's not scared. He's Jacoby Brissett. He's seen it all. He's been in the league for 10 years. He's been everybody's backup, nobody's first plan.
Yeah, he's also an ex-Patriot, so he learned under the best because he was there when Tom Brady.
I knew.
What is it? Colt.
Yeah.
Brown.
Yeah.
Ex-Washington commander. Oh, still Washington commander for now. But he's never been anybody's plan A. It's always been a plan B.
He's looking like
there was a soccer player a long time ago. He still plays a little bit. His name is Olivier Giroud. Like 8-9 years ago, he played for Arsenal, and he was they used to have this adorable term for him, the world's best plan B. So your offense doesn't work for 70 minutes, sub him in for the last 20, get him a header, and he'll score a goal. World's best plan B. Dude led France to a World Cup as their leading striker. Not just the
Crazy,
plan B.
man. Yeah.
Yep. So Jacoby Brissett, for sure, he's one of those guys who just hang around there and always a good backup, like a
You've been in the
Tyrod
league long
Taylor,
enough. You've
Geno
seen
Smith.
enough. You can play in this league.
Mhm.
You might not be a tier 1 starter, but you can get some wins. Jacoby
Absolutely.
Brissett is no joke. If he was our backup and he was replacing Aaron Rodgers, we would probably be a 10-win team.
Mhm.
I
Absolutely.
agree.
He can
actually
handle
really
it.
agree.
He can handle it. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these comments. We got Riku signing in here. So we're gonna make Tua's life a living hell this
Baby.
Sunday. You
Yeah,
guys
hope
that
don't
game's
know
going to be
what hit
brutal.
him. Let's
That game's
go.
going to be
So
gross.
yeah, Riku, appreciate you for chiming in. Let's go take a look. We got Alan Podger. Chris, what do you think of the chance of the Patriots being the Bills? Well,
Oh, here we go.
yeah, listen, that's a team. That's a team we always play hard. The Dolphins, the Jets, the Patriots. Those are in conference games. Those are always hard fought games. And Bill Belichick would let nothing better than to ruin the playoff aspirations of the Bills. So, the chances I want to say is any given Sunday is anybody's game. Patriots look like they've caught their stride. So I think they got a pretty decent chance as opposed to what I would have said maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think we've got a chance here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So let's see. The
You
Jets,
guys have played every team close. And how about, by the way, guys, all of our games this past weekend finish on a game-winning field goal, basically.
Yeah.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah.
it was a good week for football for sure. Good, a lot of surprises as well. So I loved it. Are we drafting the quarterback? Absolutely. I don't see a reason. Bailey Zappi may be looking good right now, but there's no reason to say that that's going to continue. And with the a high 1 through 3 pick in the draft, I don't see why we wouldn't go for one of these studs coming out in college. Drake May, Caleb Williams. We got to get one of these guys. It wouldn't make sense not to get.
You're not picking that high, though. Like, you just won your way out of the top 3.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's unfortunate. I don't know what Bill Belichick's goal is, but we'll see. We shall see. Hopefully we lose this week and we get back to it, But let's see. Okay. So with that, I'll go ahead and get into the Patriots game. Patriots, I want to say we got a surprise and win over the Broncos. The Broncos was one of those teams that kind of just caught fire and won they won about 6 games straight, 5 or 6 games straight out of nowhere. And they looked like they had a real shot to make it into the playoffs. And it looks like they kind of just ran out of steam toward the end. So now they're 7-8. Not really sure of what their playoff aspirations were, but it was a hard-fought game. We saw an explosion of offense in the third quarter between Bailey Zappi. He put up 20 points in the third, something I think we haven't seen. I think that was the best quarter that we've had this entire NFL season. We haven't seen much production from Mac Jones, so it's really reassuring to see, our quarterbacks go up there and step up, and our team kind of go ahead and make some strides. Our leading receiver was Demario Douglas. He put up 5 receptions and 74 yards, and we saw a lot of explosion of offense as well from Ezekiel Elliott. So it was just a really overall good game, a good win on both sides of the ball. We won by a field goal, so I'm happy about our team. It's about to win. Not happy that we're moving, further away from that top pick because, like I said, it doesn't make sense not to go out there and get a high quarterback and just kind of just tank. We're only 4-11. Doesn't really make sense to start winning at this point in the season. There's no.
Yeah, but you can't, Chris. You can't ask football players to go out there and lose a football game.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Right.
You can and you will, especially when it comes.
If you want to get paid, you're gonna lose this damn game at all costs.
Exactly, especially
Now,
when it comes.
we saw that with Brian Flores, the tank for Tua season with the Dolphins. They started out that season 0-6, 0-7, and then they rattled off a bunch of victories that they shouldn't have won. One of them was against the Patriots, and they started winning football games, and fans were like, "I thought we were tanking this year. I thought this was the year we were going to get the number 1 pick and get a quarterback." And you can't ask football teams, you can't ask football players to do it. And honestly, I wasn't disappointed that the Dolphins were doing that. I like to see the Dolphins win football games, even when the football games don't matter.
Yeah, that was the thing with the Jets too. Like, there were a whole bunch of fans upset about us winning that game, calling it a meaningless game. But I can't root for my team to lose. I was expecting it, but I certainly wasn't cheering for it.
Listen, I was rooting for the Patriots.
Regarding this question here, if the Dolphins win and clinch the AFC East in Week 17, would they rest the players against the Bills in Week 18? No, they wouldn't. That would be a more interesting question if the Ravens had lost to the 49ers last night. Because if the Ravens had lost to the 49ers last night and the Dolphins beat the Ravens in Week 17, then the Dolphins would have the number 1 seed all sewn up. And then we'd be talking about potentially resting starters, rest versus rust. as it stands right now, the Dolphins have to play until the end. So if they're going to get the number 1 seed, they're going to earn this in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. How about this from Mad Chatter here? Talking about trying to get some Taylor Swift talk on here. Yeah, I'll say this. What is the record now? 3-5 with Travis Kelce and T Swift going together. Now there's 3-5.
Not good.
It's been
You
rough.
Might need another breakup song here. I hate to say it for the Chiefs' sake. Actually, no. Continue dating. I don't want to see the Chiefs succeed.
Yeah, and watching that game,
make it.
yeah. Watching that game, I don't know if anybody caught that Chiefs Vegas game. It was Christmas, why not? But that was a really rough game. Probably one of the worst games I've ever seen from Patrick Mahomes. Following a fumble, a failed bobbled handoff between him and Isaiah Pacheco that led to a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Then following a pick six right after. It was a poor offensive showing.
Your boy
Kansas
Jack
City.
Jones. How about it?
Yeah. Yep. It was very, very beautiful showing for Jack Jones. Ex-Patriots, well, all these Patriots go well. They leave and they go well. They go do well somewhere else. Just like a Stephon Gilmore and the Cowboys. Yeah. Stephon Gilmore's out there killing it right now in Dallas. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. They just coach up the best of the best, right? So
that's right. I do have a question for you, Chris. Speaking of
course,
past, did you happen to see Zeke Elliott hurdle?
I did.
I don't know who it was that he hurdled, but he looked. I'll tell you what, he caught 9 passes only for 33 yards, but he did have that receiving touchdown. Is there a chance you bring Zeke back next year? Do you think he remains a Patriot?
I would hope so because you always need that change of pace running back. Ramondre Stevenson, he is a workhorse, but you don't want to just rely too heavily on one running back and just leave, higher wear and tear during the season, higher risk of injury. So Zeke, he's shown, some flash of life this season. And I wouldn't see why we wouldn't bring him back. Have him. It's a good option to go to. He can catch those balls out the backfield. He's the powerhouse when he wants to be. And he's been doing his thing. He's been really showing out for us the last couple of weeks. So I would definitely love to see him back. If not, then who would you replace him with?
Right. Yeah. Well, Kevin Harris. Kevin Harris. Yeah. I like that kid a lot. South Carolina guy too.
Yeah,
the other week.
I can see Zeke coming back to the Patriots. I can see Zeke signing on to a different team in a similar role to the one he played with the Patriots this year. I do think he has a little something left, a little bit of pep in his step.
Yeah, he's got a little something.
Zeke's averaging 3.5 yards per carry, fellas.
Yeah, behind
him. Yeah, but there's still some play. Like, hey, he hurdled a guy, and he's almost. What is he? How old is Zeke? 28.
Probably 28.
Yeah, but he's a real old 28.
He's an old 28. Yeah,
he's been getting like 300 carries since he was like 19.
I think. Yeah, I think there's still something left that Zeke can offer to a football team. He's not the bell cow that he once was. I'm not saying he is, Anthony.
No, right.
I'm not even saying a bell cow. He's got 157 carries. That's not like a huge amount. It's probably too many for him, but it's 3.5 yards per carry. His game long, or so far as season long, is 23 yards. That's Jerome Bettis like.
Yeah, you hate seeing stuff like that, but it is the Patriots.
Yeah, we do have one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL, I'd like to say, to this point. So, like I said, we do have a chance to go ahead and do an overhaul in the offseason, and we'll kind of see how we look next year. So, if he comes back under a better line, we have a better quarterback under a better line. We'll see. It's a completely different offense. That NFL offensive line is everything. Just look at the Cowboys. This whole year, he was behind the Cowboys, and he was looking like the best running back in the NFL. But we all knew that the Cowboys had one of the best O-lines in the NFL. Anyone looked good back there, which is explain Dak Prescott up until a certain point. But like I said, the O-line is the big X factor. So we'll see how it goes. We shall see how it goes.
Hey, how about Breece Hall, Anthony? You got to be fired up about that. Talking about running backs, right?
That is a bad man.
Dude is the real deal. Yeah. He definitely is.
An underrated part of his game, and I enjoy this, is how many cornerbacks and safeties he injures. They always try to tackle him low, and that dude is stiff.
Yeah.
That dude is a lot stronger and a lot more powerful than he looks like, because he looks pretty angular because he's relatively tall, like 5'11" or whatever.
Yeah.
But they just run into his legs and fall down, and they're just laying there stiff on the ground, and he just keeps running to the end zone.
He reminds me of Anthony, honestly, and I'm not saying he is this guy, but he reminds me a lot of LaDainian Tomlinson.
I can
That's a
see
good
some
comparison.
LT. I always comped him to like Marshall Falk
Yeah.
because
Love it.
he's so slick. Like his ability to just sort of make a cut and then just break an angle is amazing. I totally see LT in there. I totally see LT in there too. He catches the ball so well. He had 12 receptions.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
12 for
saw
96.
I saw some weird stat where like since week 11 he's the fifth has the fifth most catches in the NFL. Any position.
Wow.
Looking like Matt Forte back in the day a little bit.
Almost.
There you go. Yeah.
I'll say this: you had Brees Hall in your fantasy football semifinal matchup.
Yeah, I did.
You won.
By a lot.
Yeah,
for sure.
him and Amari Cooper. What a week
Amari
it was
Cooper.
for Amari
Oh
Cooper.
man, how about
Mhm.
Amari, man?
He was
He's had
he
a-
was on my team's bench, actually. I had him.
Dude, with Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Joe
Oh my
freaking Flacco.
Joe,
Are
it's
you
a
Unreal.
revival. It's been a revival this week for
If
Joe
you can
Flacco.
protect Joe Flacco, he is Vinny Testaverde reincarnate.
Yes.
If you can
Yeah.
protect him, he can put the ball anywhere.
Yeah.
Yep. And we've seen that because there was no stopping Amari Cooper this week. 265 yards, the most on the most in Cleveland Browns history. I think the most out of any wide receiver in this season. So he's putting up some numbers. He put up some numbers for sure. So
I don't think I'm crazy or out of line to say that Joe Flacco right now looks better than Joe Flacco looked almost at like 28 or 29.
Oh
I
yeah.
agree.
Because he used to
agree.
throw really terrible throws. I mean, he always had the arm, but he would make horrible decisions.
Yeah.
Right.
But he's seen it all. He's basically a coach now. There are coaches much younger than him.
Yeah.
hmm
And
Yep.
this dude, like,
And the Browns are not a team
Slinging
that
it.
people want to see in the playoffs.
no,
the
absolutely
defense.
not. I thought they were dead to rights because they didn't have a quarterback. But
Yeah.
like
Right.
with Joe Flacco is more than enough.
They're better with Joe than Deshaun, honestly.
by miles.
Yeah, absolutely.
miles.
It's crazy. Yeah.
That team is terrifying right now.
Yeah.
They
That
are.
defense is unbelievable.
Yep.
So
I love it. This is
speaking of unbelievable
see.
defenses, let's go ahead and talk about that Ravens 49ers game. Now that was a shock right there. We knew the 49ers were a great team, and I thought it'd be a lot closer than it was. But I think the Ravens have shown that they are a good team on both sides of the ball, and they just kind of shut the 49ers away early, and just really dashed any hopes. It's looking like the Ravens are the team to beat this year. What would you guys say about that?
I think the Dolphins are going to have something to say about that next week.
I like that, Keith. I like
But
that. Put it out on the
Dolphins-
table, baby. We got Rick in the chat too. Hell yeah.
Confident Keith, let's go.
No, it's not even about confidence. It's about we can't say that the Ravens are the team to beat in the AFC until they play the Dolphins next week. We will see what happens between these two teams. The Dolphins are coming to Baltimore. Yeah, that game wasn't curb stomping. The Dolphins are coming to Baltimore. The Ravens are coming off of a highly emotional game against the 49ers. Let's see how they react to that. But the Ravens played one hell of a game, made Brock Purdy look like Mr. Irrelevant again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really looking forward to this week, seeing what the Dolphins have for this Ravens team, because last year's Ravens team and this year's Ravens team are two very different teams. Last year's Ravens secondary was horrible. This year's Ravens secondary is a top 5 unit. This year's Ravens defense is a top 5 unit. I didn't see myself saying that going into the season.
And it looks like
Marlon Humphrey, by the way. I mean,
Yeah.
this guy has torn how many ACLs and has had multiple season-ending injuries, and he still finds a way to recover, come back better and stronger. I don't know how he does it, but he is unbelievable, man. Like, that Ravens defense is so damn good. My dad mentioned it too. Jadeveon Clowney, the 24 looks disgusting on him, but my gosh, he's having a revitalization himself. Like, and then the two linebackers inside, you got Patrick Queen, Roquan Smith. I mean, they are
scary,
damn good team. Geno Stone having a Pro Bowl year too. Like, man,
Scary team, flying to the football, making big plays. They just get scaring anybody. And like you said, they make Brock Purdy look pedestrian this week, and before they took him out the game. So it's going to be a definitely interesting challenge to see how Tua faces that defense next week. I'm looking forward to that. I thought this would be the game of the year. I was very shocked to see that it was just a blowout, one-sided butt kicking. So
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get
for the 49ers in that one. I was as shocked as anybody about the score of that game. I really thought that was going to be a much closer game, if not a 49ers victory.
Yeah.
It was at half. I felt like at half, you could tell, I mean, even with the turnovers, it was still close, 16-12. But then that second half, I mean, the Ravens just exploded, and it was a beatdown.
I mean, it's very much a credit to how opportunistic they were on defense.
Yeah.
With the 4 interceptions against Purdy and 1 more against Sam Darnold, because it's not like they strapped him down. It wasn't it wasn't like they did absolutely nothing. The Niners with 308 yards passing, another 121 yards rushing. It's not like they didn't move the football at all.
Yeah.
Right.
CMC was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Brandon George Kittle 126 yards. Like it's not like the Ravens didn't do anything, but they were the turnovers just overwhelmed the 49ers, what they're capable of like handling. What can you do? There were so many times this season, especially early in the season, I felt like Brock Purdy had a lot of interceptions dropped. I feel like you go back and watch the first 3 or 4 games, like you see a lot of bad passes, a lot of things batted into the air that just happened to miraculously not get caught. And it's a bad, very unlucky game for him. And they were opportunistic and they took advantage of it. And get that many turnovers, you just lean on them after a while.
Anthony, a lot of interceptions dropped. The same can be said for Tua. Tua's thrown a lot of balls that should have been intercepted this season that were dropped.
Same goes
that
for
makes
John.
that gives me a little bit of agita regarding this Ravens game. Because if Tua plays the same way Brock Purdy did, it's not going to look good for the Dolphins.
Do you remember Jared Odrick? I don't know why that just you said Agita and that name just came to mind.
Jared Odrick.
So random.
So
random. But I just had to say that.
Penn State Dolphins defensive tackle, played for the Jaguars, I believe, afterwards.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love that guy.
Okay. It's a special moment when I feel like it's such a good connection. I said this on our holiday show. It's such a beautiful connection between 2 dudes when they can just go back and forth and name random old school players, or it doesn't even have to be old school, just random names. Like it's just such a beautiful bonding moment, and I am always here for that. So that moment right there, beautiful moment.
Well, a lot of beautiful chemistry in this group right here, and we've got another friend of ours. What's going on, Brett? Good to see you, my friend.
Hell yeah, Brett.
Thanks for showing up, Brett. Sorry.
But what were you saying, Keith?
Well, as far as Jared Odrick goes, anybody who played for Penn State and then goes to the Dolphins, I'm always going to pay attention to that guy.
Double whammy, baby.
But this Tua plays a lot like Brock Purdy does. He's they call him a game manager type of guy with not the biggest of arms and whatever. Tua can't play the way Brock Purdy did against this Ravens defense, and he's thrown a lot of balls that could have potentially been intercepted this year. Not many against the Cowboys, which was good. If he was off target, he was throwing it to grass and not to a Cowboy. But I've got some agita regarding how Tua is going to perform against the Ravens this week.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll see a good game, unlike this 49ers game that we witnessed this week, because I'm always up for some good football, and I just want to see a clash of the Titans. When I think about some of the best games I've witnessed, I think the best game I've ever seen was the Chiefs versus the Rams a few years ago when it was 53-50 outcome. Now it's probably, like I said, I love shootouts, so hopefully I want to see some fireworks. I want to see a shootout between 2 of the better teams in the NFL coming up this week. And speaking of that, let's go ahead and move into our next week matchups. So Anthony, let's go ahead and talk about your matchup. We got the Jets versus the Browns, I believe. And like we mentioned, the Browns got a scary defense, and Joe Flacco is looking like the younger Flacco. So how are you feeling about that matchup this week?
This one, I don't expect we're going to come out with a win. I have no expectation that we're going to win this one, largely because last week against the Commanders, we barely pulled out that 2-point victory with a field goal. There's like 54 yards with like 5 seconds to go after leading 27-7 at halftime. Like, that's not going to happen again. We're not scoring 27 points against Cleveland. The only thing that we possibly have going for us is that the Cleveland offensive line is a little bit banged up, and I don't think we're going to give Joe Flacco as much time. But then again, we're starting Trevor Siemian, and they still have Myles Garrett, and they still have the rest of that front seven, and they still have a very opportunistic secondary. And it doesn't take much at all to pressure Trevor Siemian. He's not much more mobile than Joe Flacco, and our offensive line is terrible still. What I would like to see, if it's possible, is about 75 more checkdowns to Breece Hall, because I'm starting him in both of my fantasy matchups again. So, the more Breece, the better.
And you're in the championship this week, correct?
Yes, I am. In our league, I'm in the championship, which is awesome because I didn't draft the team to win this year. I drafted the team for the future, so it's been pretty sweet.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so I would like to see more Breece Hall involvement. I would like to see more of the team sort of mixing in the younger players. This week we finally got like Izzy Abanikanda got some actual run. Like, it wasn't just like 3 carries and, you get out of here, kid, Dalvin Cook's turn. It was actually like Izzy playing a little bit more. Ruckert, I think, has a concussion, so he might not be out there. I want to see them mix in some Will McDonald, because right now we're playing to develop for next year. So there's no point in continuing to run out the old guys. It really sucks that they waited until the season was over before they started playing the young guys, because those are the ones that have any juice in them. But at the end of the day, I would like to continue to see development of the younger players along the defensive line. Carter Warren, who was a 4th-round pick for us out of Pitt, was starting at right tackle, and he looked very decent.
Yeah.
Tittman didn't give up a single pressure in 55 dropbacks. So, again, it's nice to see the young guys coming along. I don't expect to come out with a win. I think Cleveland's on a mission at this point. I think even if it's one of those, 17-10 games, I do think as long as we play them relatively close and the young guys get to play, I'll be happy with the game.
Okay, and what do the Jets need to do to kind of secure the win against the Cleveland's Brown defense and offense? What do you feel they need to do?
What would they need to do? They would need Breece Hall to do exactly what he just did last week. Mm-hmm. 90 yards receiving, 90 yards on the ground, 2 more touchdowns, drag that offense kicking and streaming. And they need to be down in that game at halftime. They need to be down in the second, third, and fourth quarter for Saleh to let the offense go. Because if they have a lead, they're going to get into that same sort of complacent, just run the football and punt it and let the defense take care of it. Mm-hmm. Which way do we go, George?
Been there.
Yeah, we're going to have to be down. That's our only chance. If we're down, but not by too significant of a margin.
It's got to be enough to come back. It's got to be enough to come back to make a difference.
Yeah. Enough that there's a chance to come back, because if we're up, we're going to watch the exact same thing. And Cleveland is not Washington.
All right. Well, best of luck to the Jets this week against the tough Browns defense. Let's see if they can squeeze out another win. And Keith, we talked about a little bit. You got a tough matchup heading into, you got a tough matchup against Baltimore Ravens, who are looking like the team to beat. They've been on a hot streak lately. They just knocked off which would look like the better team in the NFL, 49ers. What do the Dolphins need to do in order to secure a win this week against the Lamar Jackson, who's killing it?
Well, first and foremost, I would love to see Javon Holland come back in this game to kind of shadow Lamar Jackson. The Dolphins have struggled against the Russian quarterbacks, even the Sam Howells, but Josh Allen and even Dak Prescott, gave him some fits running the ball. So the Dolphins need Javon Holland to be in there to kind of keep an eye on Lamar Jackson. That would be a boon for the Dolphins defense. But more than anything, the Dolphins need to hold on to the ball, play some ball control, run the football, They don't have Jalen Waddle in this game, so they're going to be looking to more possession type guys like Braxton Berrios, River Craycraft, even Cedric Wilson. And of course Tyreek Hill. But they're going to be looking towards these other guys who have kind of played much more of a secondary role in this Dolphins offense, more so than Jalen Waddle, to step up and play, make some big catches for them. And I think all these guys are capable of doing that. Even Durham Smythe made some really nice catches against the Cowboys. So the Dolphins need to hang on to the ball, run, and kind of do this more matriculate the ball down the field kind of thing. That, in the words of Hank Stram, matriculate the ball down the field. They need to do more of that than rely on the big play against this Ravens defense. Because if you're going to try to rely on the big play against this Ravens defense, that's where you make mistakes. And if you make mistakes against this Ravens defense, they're going to make you pay. So I'm going to be looking for the Dolphins to just play a solid football game all around, kind of squeeze their offense the way they did against the Cowboys defense with their defense. This Dolphins team can beat the Ravens. I firmly believe that. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they will. Last week against the Cowboys, I predicted a 24-21 victory. I got a 22-20 victory. So I'm going to call that good enough. This week against the Ravens, I'm going to say 30-27 victory for the Dolphins.
Ooh, I like it.
I like it.
I don't like it, but I like the confidence going into that, Keith.
It's a 1:00 game, and I don't love that.
I don't understand why they didn't flex that.
Well, I read an article last week that said that CBS basically gets to hang on to one game a week. Every network gets to hang on to one game a week. And CBS said, we're not letting go of Dolphins Ravens. So that's
got to be Nance and Romo, right? There's no way they're not going to have.
Yeah, I'm pretty. It has to be Nance and Romo. Yeah, but so CBS said we're not getting rid of Dolphins Ravens. You can't flex it to Sunday night or anything like that. It's staying as a 1:00 game. Don't love that, but at least I get to see my fate earlier on in the day and just kind of, know how that goes.
Keith, I have a question for you about Devin Achane especially. So since he came back, his longest run is 15 yards.
Yeah.
How's he looking to you?
He looks a little more tentative to me, Anthony. But I don't think I honestly don't think the Dolphins are getting Achane out in space as much as they were before. And I think teams see Achane and they key on him because he's so explosive, because he showed how explosive he was. But I think he's running a little more tentatively, which is okay. He's a rookie. He's kind of getting his sea legs back a little bit. I don't think that's indicative of his future in the NFL, but I think, as soon as he gets some play in the NFL, he gets hurt. He's gone for weeks. He goes on IR, and then he comes back and he immediately gets hurt again. So it's understandable that he would. Wow. Bills 49. That's next week, man.
Hey, let's get there first, Brett. My gosh, we got the Pats before them.
No, I think it's understandable that Achane would be a little more tentative right now, but he's still running with some authority. He's still running with speed, and he's still a guy the Dolphins are going to be relying on moving forward. Absolutely.
Yeah. How much do you think of the uses of Achane and the way he's been playing recently, as of late, is on the coaching staff and Mike McDaniels wanting to keep him healthy for the deep playoff push?
I think they're mixing in Achane and a little bit more of Jeff Wilson to keep Raheem Mostert healthy because they know where their bread's buttered. Raheem Mostert's been their guy this year.
Yeah.
And, I think Achane's going to play a role in the playoffs, but they need Raheem Mostert to be the Raheem Mostert that he was at the beginning of the season in order to make a deep playoff run. They need Raheem Mostert to the bell cow. I think that they know that going forward. Jeff Wilson, Devon Achane, anybody else they'll put in at running back. They're just guys that are in there so that Raheem Mostert can catch a breather and maybe not take as much wear and tear. He's 31 years old. He's played great all year, and they are going to need him moving forward. And he's starting to get back to where he was. In the middle of the season, he kind of slowed down a bit. And he's getting back to where he was. So it's really good to see.
Okay, it's good to hear. Good. So I wish you the best of luck going into this Sunday.
No, you
Hopefully,
don't, Chris.
I'm hoping that 1 o'clock game doesn't ruin the rest of it for you. You know. And, we do have a
All right,
question
now
from Brett for
I
Anthony.
do have a question though, actually, for Chris and Anthony, because your two teams are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs.
Mhm.
Yes.
If it's between the Bills and the Dolphins, do you guys have a preference on who wins the division or who advances to the Super Bowl if there's a possibility?
Hell yeah, the Dolphins.
Dolphins.
Wow.
I love
Nice.
Mike McDaniel. Every interview that we can
That's
get from
fair.
Mike McDaniel, we can do. Like if
Yes.
he gets a full week of interviews like leading up to the Super Bowl, I'm watching every one of them. That's gonna be must-see TV for me.
Yeah, I think I think I want the Dolphins to win it. They haven't been there in a long time. Not to say the Bills have, but if you want to give it to anyone, give it to the young boy, give it to the young coach. I'd rather see them in it. And I think the Bills just don't have what it takes to win the chip.
Wow.
I just don't. I just think they don't have what it takes. I mean, James Cook's been hot lately. Stephon Diggs, he was a little shut down this past week, but Gabe Davis stepped up and did his thing. So
Your boy.
I mean, my boy
Chris,
stepped
I'll
up.
say this, man. I think there are 3 teams right now in the AFC that can go to the Super Bowl: Dolphins, Ravens, and Bills. Nobody wants to play the Bills in the playoffs right now. No, they
The
are.
Joe Flacco slander.
Look, I mean,
know.
I like what Joe Flacco is doing, but push comes to shove. It's these 3 teams that I think are going to go to the Super Bowl. One of those 3 teams, and the Bills are not a team anybody wants to see right now.
So
including yours truly.
I just say, are you not including the ratings and the Ravens in the AFC?
No, I said Ravens, Bills, Dolphins.
Oh, you did say that. Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't know what I thought I heard. Yeah, I give it to them. I thought that Jaguars were going to be there, but it doesn't look like they're shaping up to be that
Yeah,
team.
the Jags, man.
I don't know. I don't know what happened to them as of late. Injuries, Trevor Lawrence, and just they lost. God, I always forget his name. Christian Kirk. They lost Christian Kirk with a chest injury. He's on IR, so it's just not looking like their season.
And it's not looking like he did last year at all.
No, not at all.
No.
Yeah.
So it's sad to see. And then
Evan Ingram, though, 98 catches for Evan Ingram this year, guys.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
He looked good last year too, though. He looked good last year.
Yeah.
So I was expecting to see, the resurgence of Evan Ingram. He was really underutilized in that New York Giants offense. So
he was
right.
You
always knew he could do it, but
The Giants hated him too. Giants fans were like all over him. This dude can't catch. He's terrible. Whatever. Like, get to a quarterback. Something.
Yeah, you got Daniel Jones, so it is what it is. And Tommy DeVito looks like he's getting that start. I mean, I hope Tommy DeVito continues to start for the Giants because he's brought some life to that fan base and some life to that offense. So, but another sad note for the AFC is what's been going on with CJ Stroud. He's been quiet. I know he's been dealing with injuries for the past few weeks. It looked like the Texans was a team that was going to make a deep push too, and now it looks like they're almost out of the picture.
He hasn't since the concussion. I don't think he's played.
Yeah.
They're taking their time bringing him back, and that's what you should do. You can't keep running out there.
Right.
Maybe the Dolphins should have taken a page out of that book last year.
I don't disagree. Take your time with it. Look for the long-term view.
Yeah. So I think that's also probably a factor due to just the whole Tua incident last year with the injuries that he was dealing with. So NFL is definitely taking those concussion protocols more serious this year. So
you would think that, but then the Colts kept running Anthony Richardson out there.
And that's why he's done it this season.
It's not an NFL thing. Like team by team, some teams are more responsible. Clearly.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. So far, right now, looking at the season, we've seen a couple of teams clinch the division already. So we got the Lions and we have the 49ers who have clinched their division. A couple of teams who are already clinching the wild card. We got the Eagles, we got the Cowboys, we got the Dolphins, and we have the Ravens. So it looks pretty good. The Lions, let's talk about Detroit Lions. They're looking like a good team right now. They're just stomping on their opponents. I'm pretty shocked at the season that they're having right now. Is this something that we all saw coming? I mean, I know the first game of the year, the first Thursday night football was the Lions against the Chiefs, and they beat the Chiefs, and we just kind of thought it was a fluke. But right now they're sitting at 11-4 and top of the NFC North. How are we feeling about the Lions, guys?
I think they're paper tigers.
Yeah.
I mean, Nick Mullins threw it for 400 yards against them. He's within a touchdown of them. I mean, I get it, but like, They can score some points sometimes when the playmakers break a big play, but like that defense can't stop a nosebleed.
Yeah,
and it's not like there's anybody in that division that can challenge them right now.
The Lions are playing the Cowboys this week.
That's
that'll
going to
be
be
telling.
Yeah, it will.
I think also a big key to their success as of late too is that they've kind of started leaning off of the David Montgomery and going more to the rookie Jahmyr Gibbs. And Jahmyr Gibbs has been pretty explosive, which is of course what you expect when you draft a running back in the first round, right? You expect him to go out there and do big things, and he has not disappointed at all.
I like what the Lions are doing down there. I like the way Dan Campbell coaches that team. And I think that their defense will improve in time. But right now, I have to agree with Anthony. I think they are paper tigers, paper lions. But
Nice.
bump. No, but you know, this Cowboys game is going to be telling about what the Lions have for the rest of the NFL. It's, you know, we'll see what they have.
Okay. Well, fair enough. So what about you, Jake? What's your opinion toward the Lions?
Love it for Detroit. Obviously, it's a beautiful moment. First time since 1993 that they actually win their division. So that's a beautiful moment. You know, obviously Detroit has been through hell. And Dan Campbell was on that 0-16 team. So I feel like for him, it's got to be so.
Was he?
Yeah,
he was.
Yeah.
It's great. Actually, he had his best seasons in Detroit. I think he had a 300-yard receiving season. He was mainly known as a blocking tight end throughout his career.
Yeah.
But he had a long career. Played with the Cowboys and the Lions. Saints as well. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So, no, I mean, I love it for them. But, yeah, I would agree with you guys. I feel like their defense, I mean, you saw what the Vikings did. I mean, 400 yards for Nick Mullins. And, I mean, they're this close to winning that game last week. And yeah.
And you saw what happened on Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
The Packers carved them up, you know.
They're just inconsistent. I think offensively they can get it done, of course, but they got to be on. Like they're just not. That week to week, it's different for them.
What breaks my heart is that the defensive coordinator is Aaron Glenn, who's was a lifetime Jet, and the thing is, he's just playing a style of defense that doesn't work anymore.
That makes sense.
He's playing a style of defense that almost works against the personnel that they have. They should be playing a lot of like. Similar to what the Bills play, similar to what the Jets play, a lot of like cover 3, cover 4, and just let Aiden Hutchinson and the rest of the pass rushers get at them, but they're just not. Yeah. They're playing too much man, and it puts too much pressure on the cornerbacks.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't have the personnel.
I don't think it's a personnel problem. That's the worst thing.
Yeah.
I think they're just actively. No. I think that they've done a really good job. Like Brian Branch looks phenomenal. Aiden Hutchinson is an exceptional pass rusher. They had the dude that they had Justin Houston, was it, or James Houston? Last year that was phenomenal. They could brought out of absolutely nowhere. Jack Campbell this year, second round pick. Like I don't think it's a personnel issue. I think they're just using him wrong.
Okay,
that makes sense. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Brett left a comment here when he was with the Dolphins coach. He screamed at the tight end for dropping a ball. I do remember that.
That's great.
I remember Dan Campbell was the Dolphins coach very well, and I wouldn't have minded the Dolphins holding on to him. But I do think he needed a little more seasoning before he became an NFL coach. And I'm glad he landed with Detroit. I am. I think he's building something really special down there. If the Lions can get a defense, they're going to be a scary team in a couple of years. But this year, the players love him. They'll run through a brick wall for him. And that's one thing that I noticed when he was with Miami, that the players absolutely love playing for him. Which is why I wouldn't have minded him sticking around. But what Dan Campbell needs is he needs coordinators. To Anthony's point, he needs coordinators who are really good X's and O's type of coordinators. And to Anthony's point, I don't think Aaron Glenn is the guy down in Detroit.
Yeah.
Okay. Very, very fair points for everyone. Appreciate those. So right now, as we see the season shaping up, we can kind of see who's going to be making the playoffs and making it not. Any Super Bowl predictions right now at this point, guys? No Super Bowl. No.
I'm not cursing that team.
This is a point I was going to bring up before. I feel like the NFL is very compressed right now. Like the difference between the absolute best team in the NFL and maybe the 10th best team in the NFL is a lot closer than it was a decade ago.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly what that is. If that's like just teams are better at drafting, or franchises are run better, or analytics involved in sports in the NFL. But like, I feel like the league is a whole lot more compressed than it used to be. Like, you don't see the 0-16 teams anymore. The closest that you have this year is Carolina, and they've got 2 wins, which is,
And they've been close in a lot of games too. Even so.
And then the next best team, I think, is 3 or 4 wins. Like,
right. Yeah.
We're at a time when like even the worst teams aren't as bad as the worst teams used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no one's
cool.
going winless during the season. Everyone's getting at least a couple of dubs. So yeah, but I think that's also we can attribute it to the talent that's coming out of college these days. You know, I think we're seeing some of the best. You know, just the generation of players.
Less
you know,
bus.
Less bus. For sure. Everyone's got some talent in the NFL.
Also, players are playing longer, so you're seeing careers get extended. So like talented players wind up sticking around a lot, holding on a lot better than they did.
True.
So, even guys like
right?
I'm sorry. What did you say, Keith? Guys
like Ndamukong Suh are trying to come back. Like he visited. With
I know.
Last week.
Crazy.
I don't know what came.
Even Dalvin Cook is coming back.
Yeah,
man, it's wild. Like the drop off with Dalvin Cook is so extreme to me. I mean, he was 1,000-yard back still. Like I know he's been banged up and whatnot, but like you didn't expect him to be.
I thought he'd be bad. I didn't think this.
Yeah,
I didn't think we needed him. That was the other thing. I just didn't think we needed him. We drafted Izzy Abanikanda. We already had Michael Carter. We had Bam Knight. Like. We had dudes in the backfield. It's not like we desperately needed him. Then whatever.
That's how I thought about the Dolphins going into the season, Anthony. Like, you know, it was basically coming down to the Jets or Dolphins as to who Dalvin Cook was going to sign with. And it's like, you know, I just didn't think we needed him. I like Raheem Mostert. I like Jeff Wilson. I didn't know what we had in Devon Achane yet, but I liked the speed. And now that I've seen it, you know, I'm happy we didn't sign Dalvin Cook because we would have been taking snaps away from one of these guys who are clearly more worthy. You know, same with the Jets. He's taking snaps away from guys like Izzy Abanikanda, who is probably needs the reps, definitely needs the reps more than Dalvin Cook does.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of funny when you think about it in hindsight, how everyone was kind of arguing and everyone wanted Dalvin Cook to go to their team in the off season. Now look at it, it's like, well, kind of glad we didn't get him, right?
You're all lucky you dodged the bullet. We ate it for you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anthony.
Anytime.
Who would you rather have, Dalvin Cook or Zeke?
I would rather have Michael Carter back, who we waived for no reason.
Wow.
Like, come on, $8 million.
Bam Knight, man. I love Bam Knight. Like, what the heck?
Fun. He wasn't good, but he was fun. Like, he's that guy that can get 3 carries, 4 carries a game. But like, he's definitely better than Dalvin Cook. Anything's better than Dalvin Cook right now. There's so much talent in the NFL at running back.
Yeah.
There's so much. Why are you paying $8 million to a dude that like you knew wasn't going to play? Supposedly they were gonna use him so that they could get Brees back slowly. And then Brees was healthier than he was to start out the season.
Yeah.
That's wild, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, with those ACL injuries, you can never tell how players are going to recover. Some of them come back, they don't have that same explosiveness, but Brees came back and he was firing out the gates like a cannon. So I think that was a happy sight for the Jets fans. But of course, we know that it was followed up by the sadness of losing Aaron Rodgers on the first possession of our first drive of the game. So first drive of the season. But moving. But what can you do? I think as long as Aaron Rodgers is on that roster and hasn't played a full season, Robert Saleh's job is safe because they built their season behind the success of him and Aaron Rodgers coaching together. So
they already said too they're coming back next year.
Yeah, they did.
Of course. So we'll see how it goes moving forward for the Jets. There's still hope. They haven't had the season that anyone anticipated, but they haven't had the quarterback that they anticipated playing with. So, but
True.
Let's go ahead and take a look at our.
This.
Oh yeah, he's talking about your
caffeine's in that thing. 1,100 milligrams of caffeine. Holy smokes! I think the average cup of coffee is like 200.
Yeah. So I work third shift and I live off of caffeine. I couldn't live without caffeine. That's a little much for me.
I mean, wow. I drink about that much coffee a day. I'm a teacher though. Like that's what I need to do. Like plus I have ADHD, so like. it helps me regulate.
What's your focus, Anthony? Are you all over the board, or you got a specific subject that you teach, or?
I teach upper primary.
Okay.
And when I was abroad, I got to teach like I taught upper, middle, and high school history.
Nice. Oh,
okay.
Like world
I
history.
pegged you as like a social studies guy. I don't know why.
In the States, I'll probably only do like upper primary because like whatever. But if I go back abroad, like back to Japan, back to social studies for sure.
That's cool, man. I love that. Nice.
You're
molding our youth. You're a good man to do it. You're the right man for the job. I love it.
Just don't bring any more Jets fans out here, right?
Yeah.
Just avoid that whole.
Well, you start teaching Jets history, they're not going to become Jets fans.
I'm not teaching Jets history. I'm in Chicago. I teach the history of Chicago. Great history.
There you go.
Great history.
Yeah. Very true. Very
I
true.
love it.
So one matchup we haven't talked about coming up is that Bills and Jets matchup. I mean, Bills and Patriots. Excuse me, Bills and
Check
Patriots
out this one,
matchup.
Chris. This is a while back, but my dad saying 41-10 now after your comments about the Bills.
Oh dear God, this is just gonna get out of hand.
Here's the thing: I hate that because I cannot predict another blowout game for the Bills. I'm sorry, I don't think that's where we live. We're not going to blow a team out. That's just not who we are. And if we do, it's going to come by surprise, like that Cowboys game. I feel like the Bills, they're better off not having the hype. I hate to say that. Like, they are not, we don't want that. We want to be the underdog almost. Like, we cannot walk into a game feeling like we're going to smoke the other team. So I think that's, I guess, a message going into this Pats game is like, don't overlook this team. They already beat us earlier in the year. You can't come out with a slow start like we did the first matchup. And listen, we gotta just be like, I don't know, Sam Adams and just lay on you guys all game. That's it.
I also don't think you guys have the horses for shootout. I don't think you're built for it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think Josh can do it, but then he gets those deer in the headlight eyes, and you never know what's going to happen there. Either something really amazing or something just so incredibly stupid.
Yeah,
you can't even comprehend it.
I totally get it. Like the catastrophe eyes, I've seen them against the Jets.
Yeah,
like that first game, he had them. Those eyes,
they get wide.
They're headlights.
Yeah. And I love it, but I'm terrified at the same time. It's like it's like a roller coaster, guys.
Crazy. I just don't think you guys have the horses for a shootout like that. I wish that you guys had. I wish that you guys go into this next draft and you're just like wide receiver.
We need it.
Line. And just give it a shot.
Yeah, and it's very interesting too because they had the potential, like you said, they had a couple blowouts this season, but it just they just stopped, and you don't see it anymore. So, what did you see during those blowouts that they kind of need to start bringing back in order for them to have those high-scoring games?
Sticking with what works. Sometimes it's almost like we try to be too cute. I really like what Joe Brady has done as the interim OC. I actually think he is a better option than Ken Dorsey.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, I feel like there's these moments where, you run the football extremely well, and then you want to go away from it because you want to get Steph Diggs involved, or you want to force a play that you don't need to force. And Josh then feels like he has to do things and force these throws, and I don't know. I think there's a combination of that, and then also, again, I think some of it is coaching. I think Sean McDermott is similar to Robert Saleh, where if we do actually have a lead, he lets the foot off the gas a little bit, and you can't do that. You can't play not to lose. You have to just continually dominate throughout the entire game, and that's something I feel like the Bills have been missing. That Cowboys game, now, that was totally different. That was what I was used to back in 2021 and 2020 when the Bills were just ruthlessly beating teams.
But, Jake, not to push back on you or anything, but in the same respect, in that Cowboys game, the Bills just ran the ball down their throats. It wasn't like they did anything special in that game. They just dominated the line of scrimmage. Yeah. And they kept on doing what worked, of course. But,
and plus the weather condition called for it.
It wasn't so much. Yeah. It wasn't so much. There was no gas to take their foot off because they just coasted, you know.
True.
So in that Chargers game, I see what you were saying. They went away from some things that worked. Josh Allen threw a pretty bad interception there.
Mhm.
But I don't know that the Cowboys game was the best coaching job by Sean McDermott so much. The Bills just dominated them from start to finish.
Physically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I
Absolutely.
mean, imagine a game plan where like your game plan is just to drive to nobody was. There's no way that the Cowboys had circled on their schedule. Bills or we're playing the Bills. They're gonna run the ball down our throat.
Yeah.
That was never what they game
Right.
planned against, and you could see it immediately as soon as the game started going. Like the
Yep.
Bills pounded the rock, and the Cowboys didn't have an answer because they didn't game plan for that. They weren't expecting it.
Yeah.
And that's what I think Joe Brady has brought, like that ability to like just switch up the game plan. This is just going to be different. Yeah.
I think that also does show a good element for the Bills because now you have a good running back who you can lean on, especially because we know that throughout the past couple of years, one of the biggest questions on that Bill offense was their running game, especially when they had
Yeah.
the three-headed, when they had Devin Singletary and James Cook running, but and Zach Moss in that backfield, and none of them had got enough touches to really make a factor in that running game. So leaning on James Cook and looking at him rack up, he had 170 yards that game, I believe.
179. Yeah.
179 yards that game, and he went off. So
Jake, that reminds me, there was a Leonard Fournette sighting on.
Yes, there was.
Yeah. How do you
Oh,
look to
Yes, there
you?
was. Lenny
Uncle
actually
Lenny.
looked pretty good. I thought he
Yeah.
ran very well. A lot of
Okay.
people forget about Leonard Fournette, man. And I'll tell you what, down this playoff stretch here,
Yep.
Ty Johnson's a little banged up. He's a great alternative. I think
He is.
he even returned a kick.
Did he really?
He said, I will do whatever it takes to get on the field. He returned the kick for like 26 yards.
Wow.
Not bad. Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
all right. So Jake, back to the matchup. A quick question because I didn't ask you this question yet. What do the Bills need to do in order to walk away with a W against the Patriots?
Be opportunistic. Force some turnovers. I want to see some aggressiveness from Sean McDermott. I'm okay. Like sitting in the soft zone does work because we play this bend, dope, break defense, and it has worked. But against a young quarterback and a suspect offensive line, you'd like to see a little more pressure. And I want him to throw some blitzes at the Patriots. I want to see some aggressiveness. So I think that's, defensively, definitely the mindset we have to go in with. And then offensively, I just want to see a complete game of football. I would love to see a 300 and 100-yard combo between Josh Allen and James Cook. Like, I don't know actually when the last time that happened. Maybe the playoffs against the Patriots where we had the perfect game. I want to say Devin Singletary had a really good game and Josh Allen had a perfect rating. And Chris, if you don't remember, we did score, I think, on nearly every possession. Now, this is almost 2 years ago. So I can't beat my chest. Right. I can't beat my chest too much. But, yeah. And by the way, Mac Jones was a rookie that year. You guys had made the playoffs, and his future looked bright. And Micah Hyde with that incredible interception. Man, I'll never forget. And that game was cold as hell, by the way.
Mac Jones.
Yeah, I know. Crazy.
I haven't seen a Mac Jones sighting like that since.
Shot in a drive-by.
Yeah. Seriously.
His future was so bright.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Don't know what happened to him. But okay.
Yeah.
So
I will say this. You guys have gotten some new weapons involved, and by new weapons, I mean guys that were signed to the Patriots that I think a lot of people felt would make an immediate impact and I guess help this team become a playoff team. Guys like Devontae Parker.
Yeah.
Former Dolphin, right? Did great things in Miami.
Stepping
has
up.
shown signs of life in New England, and last week a couple days ago against the Broncos, kind of did the same thing. It was great.
Yep, even seeing some flashes of Juju out there doing his thing. Demario Douglas, of course, who I knew was going to be that number one. Yeah, I knew he was going to be our number one from like early in the season. He's been stepping up. Like I say, he has 75 yards this season, made some big plays. So, just kind of happy to see that overall. So, but I think
Chris,
moving. Go ahead.
Let me ask you. Like, we know that we all think the Bills are probably going to beat the Patriots on Sunday. So that's not exactly news. What do the Patriots have to do to pull off the upset?
I think in order for Patriots to pull off that upset, they definitely got to apply that pressure. Can't let Josh Allen sit there comfortable in the pocket. They have to make sure that they don't make any mistakes on that offensive side of the ball, giving away those early turnovers. They just got to play overall clean football. We got to continue to show that offensive explosiveness that we've seen under Bailey Zappi at center. Get our running backs involved and kind of, just play that smash mouth, gritty, ugly football that we know the Patriots are capable of playing. It doesn't have to be pretty, but if you can go ahead and just scrape out a win and, continue to play hard, then I think we may be able. I think we have a pretty decent shot. We beat the Bills early in the season, and that was when they were at their peak, and we kind of seen a drop off in that department. So I think we do have a shot right now. The way that they're playing and the way that we're playing, I think it's anyone's game on Sunday. And I hate to say it, but I'd love to see us knock the Bills out of the playoffs.
Hey, the worst news for you, Chris, is we actually haven't peaked yet.
Yeah,
that was our
early
season. Like, hey, we're just getting to the hump, and then we immediately came crashing down, and now we're back up. So we haven't reached our peak yet.
That means if you come crashing down, that means you peaked.
Can the Bills even get knocked out of the playoffs anymore? Like, everybody's losing in the AFC. It's like
if we lose these 2 games, I believe so. But if we do win against New England, and then I think there's 2 other things. I know Seattle has to win, and then there's another occurrence.
Who's Seattle playing, Jake?
They are playing the Steelers.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. There was a whole scenario here. I was actually just looking at it. I got to see if I can find it here. Let's see.
So, like, the Colts would have to win twice.
So many. Yeah.
And then, like, the Texans have to win. The Steelers. Like, there's so many 8-7 teams. There's 4 teams that are 8-7 right now, and the Bills have 9 wins.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's no way that all of those teams are going to win. I honestly feel like the Bills are in the playoffs regardless at this point.
There are 12 scenarios. 12 scenarios where we can clinch on Sunday. Yeah, I would say one of the cleanest is if the Bills win, the Steelers lose, and the Bengals lose.
Yeah,
okay.
That's really it. And then we're
who are the Bengals playing, Jake?
Chiefs. Bengals playing the Chiefs. So I mean, that's a winnable game because I like Jake Browning, and I think they've exposed that the Chiefs don't have that offensive firepower that they need in order to win this year. Like we did, I've always been saying this season that a good quarterback can make a difference. But honestly, I mean, if that was the case, then Tom Brady would have kind of won his last years in New England, right? So,
well, I think what you're looking at with all the wild card teams in the AFC that. I'm going to exclude the Bills from this, but like they all have flaws. They're all deeply flawed teams, and they're all beatable under the right set of circumstances. And we saw that with the Bengals against the Steelers.
Yeah,
Steelers came out and just punched them in the mouth. I don't think anybody saw that coming.
I did. Messed up my parlay.
The Browns are on their 3rd quarterback.
Yeah,
the Bengals are on their 2nd quarterback. The Pittsburgh Steelers don't have a quarterback. Houston Texans haven't had their quarterback for a couple of weeks now since the Jets game. Like, there's a lot of zombie teams at the top of the standings right now. There are not 7 real playoff teams right now in the AFC.
Like I said, I don't include the Bills in that because the Bills have dealt with their fair share of injuries, but they have number 17. And number 17 is playing some good football right now.
He is. And listen, he's the only quarterback in NFL history to have 4 straight seasons of 40 total touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's got 13 rushing touchdowns this year. He's got 27 passing. Sure, he has the 2nd most turnovers in the league, but I can take the turnovers if he's putting up the numbers he's putting up. This is a guy I feel like that's still being overlooked. If the Bills have 2 more wins, I think Josh Allen is your leader for MVP right now. I'm not just saying that either. Probably. I think he has the statistics to back it up. Yeah. But if the Bills are at 11 wins right now, he's probably your front runner.
Yeah,
for sure.
Unfortunately, we've dropped some games, and it's actually been Josh's fault. I mean, you go back to the Jets game. That's all on him. You go back to maybe New England even. Maybe that's partially on Josh as well.
It is.
I think a lot of these scenarios, it's been like the Bills offense either can't get going quick enough or we beat ourselves. Sometimes our own worst enemy is ourselves.
Yeah.
We play like this game of football. It's hard to play a good game of football when you're beating yourselves and you're losing to the opponent. There's just we're not good enough to overcome that.
Yeah, but I don't think too many teams are, especially, I don't think too many teams are if they beat themselves. No, if they give away these games, just like we see with Brock Purdy, doesn't matter how good your team is, but if you start beating yourself, then it's over. He's just going to spiral. It's going to spiral out of hand. And we all were looking at Brock Purdy as the MVP. You know, he was the front runner of the MVP last week, and then goes out there and throws a couple of interceptions, and gets his behind kicked by the Ravens. And now they're like, then I'm like, well, is he really the MVP or is he a system quarterback? Now that conversation comes back up, and they're going to start talking about that over and over again, all moving into next week. So, kind of wish the best for these teams. Hope he bounces back because he is still like a 7th round pick who's just been out there grinding, trying to make sure he gets to secure the future in the NFL. But
I like what Alan's saying here. Hill should get MVP. I think if there was ever going to be a season for a non-quarterback to win MVP, it would be this year with either Tyreek Hill or McCaffrey out in San Francisco.
Definitely.
And to me, it'd be a toss-up as to who is more impactful to their team's success. But I would honestly give the nod to CMC. He's had one hell of a year, and Hill, while he missed that one game, the Dolphins still won against the Jets, and that actually might hurt him in the MVP standings because the Dolphins, not that you need that much firepower to beat the Jets. No offense, Anthony.
No,
but the Dolphins won 30-0, and they didn't have Tyreek Hill. So clearly, they don't need Tyreek Hill to beat those lesser teams. I think McCaffrey, what he has done, what he does for the 49ers offense, and what their offense looked like when McCaffrey went down earlier on in the season. They were stagnant without McCaffrey.
Yeah, they went on a 3-game losing streak.
Exactly. Yeah. I think if it's me, I might give it to McCaffrey. I might give it to Lamar. And you know what? If the Bills win this division from the Dolphins, I might give it to Josh Allen. Just saying, because that's not out of the realm of possibility yet either.
Love that.
The MVP, as much as that, the MVP is also a team success team success award, and like Lamar Jackson's leading a team that's got.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Anthony. What do you think?
Surprised he wasn't in that voting.
Yeah, it's always a team success kind of like award for whatever reason.
Even though it's an individual award technically.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's very. There have been a couple times where like co-MVPs or like an MVP for a team that like the player puts up ridiculous stats, but like by and large, you can put up ridiculous stats on a bad team and it doesn't matter. Calvin Johnson should have had an MVP 2,000 yard season. Yeah. Team won 3 games, 2, something like that.
Absolutely. So we do see.
What was the last non-quarterback to win? Can you think of it? Because Marshall Faulk is the last one I remember.
Adrian
Peterson versus 2,000-yard season.
Yep.
AP.
Do you guys know who won the MVP in 1982?
I wasn't born yet.
It's a great question. It's a great trivia question.
1982.
Yeah. It's a very weird scenario.
It's a kicker?
It was a kicker.
Was it?
Oh.
Why did I know that? Who was it?
Mark Mosley for the Washington Redskins.
Was that the strike season?
It was the strike season, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he only played 9 games. Yeah.
I think he only hit like 55% of his kicks or something like that too. That's what that was. Go ahead.
I just looked this up the other day. He went 20 for 21, which back in those days, like if you're kicking 95%, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
He did miss a few extra points though, which I found very bizarre because the extra points back then were like at the goal line nearly.
Those guys used to toe the football. Like most of them, like it was actually a weird thing when a guy was a soccer style kicker and kicked with the instep. They used to toe the football. That thing goes anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
So I have
the
a trivia
barefoot
question
kickers.
for you guys.
That was weird too. Yeah.
Go ahead, Keith.
Who was the only player to win Super Bowl MVP for the team that lost the Super Bowl?
Chuck Howley for the Cowboys.
Yes, sir. Super Bowl 5. Chuck Howley.
That was so weird, man.
Yeah.
Like
it's so weird.
Crazy. That's a great question though. Yes. I love these obscure trivia questions.
We should bring these more often.
We do need to. We have to.
It just popped into my head as we were talking about it.
Yeah. No, that's a good one. Yep.
Okay. Fair enough. I definitely need to step up my game and do some research then, looks like.
I was actually it's a brilliant question. I was doing my buddy Timmy Corks, shout out to him. He's playing for last place in our league right now. Can't wait
quick
to watch
question.
him eat some pancakes.
I was going to say, quick question. Are we going to have that punishment live streamed? Is someone going to be there to kind of like officiate and make sure it actually happens, or are we just going to have him?
You know what? It's
disappear?
not going to be me. That's all I care about.
Your
Yeah,
wife's happy about that too.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
She's very happy about that.
I was telling my girlfriend about that punishment. She thought it was unusually cruel, but I said it's fantasy football. You know what you get into as soon as you start the season.
That's pretty mild compared to some other leagues.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
it is.
You know.
If we are going to stream this, it should be a 24-hour stream, and there should be somebody else to like help him out occasionally on the stream.
Yes. I think we
Like,
should. I mean, we got to do
24-hour Nickel City Mafia stream.
it. I'm in.
Maybe
Yeah.
we should set that one up.
I'm definitely
Yeah.
down to. I'm definitely down to watch it.
Mike,
2
You heard it
o'clock
here
to 4 o'clock
first.
in the morning. Help out.
oh yeah. We'll
Listen,
take
if I-
shifts.
Yeah,
That's
but if
what I'm thinking. Like, it's the only way. Only humane way to do it.
Right.
Listen,
We got to
if
keep
you-
him accountable, and we got to be there for him. Yeah.
you have a couple of drinks on Sunday, you got to wash it down. So let me go to Waffle House and help out Timmy.
The thing is, we're gonna have to schedule in advance. By the way, I was just looking at our sleeper. Joe Flacco still has a Jets jersey in sleeper. How about
Wow.
that?
That is hilarious. That's hilarious. You know, he had moments with the Jets too, Anthony. Like, he put up a couple 300-yard games for you guys at least, right? I mean,
he was so bad. Like,
It wasn't
our offensive
great.
line our offensive line was a disaster.
yeah,
And he can't move.
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
And that's
So, like,
that's
there
the
were
thing
some
with the
times-
Browns. The Browns
Yeah.
have, for all their faults, they have a decent enough offensive line.
oh
yeah,
yeah.
and real
Yeah.
weapons.
Mhm.
Not
Yeah.
real good weapons, but like Mari Cooper, David Njoku, they
Jerome
got
Ford, Kareem Hunt, they have guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like the Jets had when Joe Flacco was there.
no, not at all, not at all.
And,
Joe Flacco
and
was
Amari
really-
Cooper. And Amari Cooper has always shown himself to be a threat, a top wide receiver one candidate, even though people don't give him that credit. He's always been in
runs
that
great routes,
conversation. Yeah, he's
Mhm.
always been in that conversation. Even when the Cowboys let go of him and chose CeeDee Lamb over him, I was kind of like, well, he kind of made that season for the Cowboys, but he's just never that guy that everyone kind of looked at like as a wide receiver one. He's always
As
proved to
much
have
as I
great
like
seasons.
Amari Cooper, the Cowboys made the right choice in CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, I'm not saying.
special.
Yeah, I'm not saying CeeDee Lamb's not better than Amari Cooper, but if they would have kept on, if they would have kept them both, then I think
You
it'd be
can't
a
pay
different
everybody,
season for
though.
them.
Yeah.
And he was a pretty top of the market contract for them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
then they replaced him. They had Michael Gallup come in, and this year they brought in Brandon Cooks as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not like there's any shortage of weapons in Dallas.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Especially
I'll tell you
Brandon
what,
Cooks.
man. I think Amari Cooper he's extremely underrated.
Yeah.
But I
Yes.
also feel like he is such a humble human being. I know he got a big contract and whatnot, but I don't think he is he's not like a rah-rah type of player. He's always been very like quiet and
Yep.
Yeah.
go out there, handle your business type dude. Like you never hear anything bad about Amari Cooper.
And it's
Like, he's just
unusual
such a
coming from a
class
top
act.
wideout.
Right.
Yeah.
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 His contract isn't even that bad. I think he's making like $1 million a year more than Christian Kirk.
Oh wow. That's
He's like
insane.
on $20 million a year,
That's
which
a
isn't
deal.
like with
Yeah,
Tyreek
that's not
on like
terrible.
30, like
Right.
20 to Amari is not so bad.
Yeah.
He's very so yeah, here we are. Are you at all in Chris? Are you at all in draft prep mode?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
Okay,
it's go
What
ahead.
positions have you looked at?
I mean, quarterback.
Quarterback.
Of course. Quarterback. I mean,
Who do you like, Chris? Who do you like?
Ideally, I'd like to get Caleb Williams, but the way we're playing, it doesn't look like we're going to go ahead and get Caleb Williams. So, Drake May, I would say Shador, but Shador's kind of disappointed me out this entire season toward the
He's
end of
not
the
coming
season. So I know he's not coming out anyway, but
Deion won't let him. Yeah.
yeah, just for sure. I think Drake May for sure. If we can get him at a high enough pick, I'd like to see Drake May come to New England.
You might have played yourself out of the Drake May sweepstakes too.
Yeah.
Just let me say
No.
positives. Let me say positive because you never know. Like I said, this goes back to the conversation we had earlier too. Because even though we look at picks like, oh, this is a no-brainer, they should get this guy. Whenever it comes to NFL teams actually drafting, it doesn't end up like that. Even like the past couple of drafts, when I say, oh, it's no brainer, go get Jalen Hurts. He was a beast in college. Go get Lamar Jackson. This guy needs to be drafted high, and these guys don't get drafted high, and they end up like slipping down the ranking. It's like, well, what are these guys in the NFL office seeing that we're not seeing? So who knows? He might just end up slipping into our laps. If not, then and if they feel like Bailey Zappi is going to be the guy going forward, then I like to see Marvin Jones Jr. end up on New England, but he's probably going to go high too. So
Marvin Harrison.
Marvin Harris, yeah, sorry, Marvin Harris Jr.
Shout out Marvin Jones though. He just retired, by the way, like mid-season for the Lions.
He did.
Okay.
He did.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Nice
so
career,
So
I'm sure-
I don't know.
I'm sure we'll be getting into the draft more and more as our teams, it'll be getting eliminated and we get into the offseason.
Yeah.
But, I think the Patriots are going to be looking at either trading up, which is not a very Patriot thing to do, or taking a best player available the same way they did with Mac Jones back in the day. And that might not serve them best because, Mac Jones has turned out to be
A
not
bust.
what you were hoping he would be. I'm not gonna go bust.
I don't think
like
he's a bust.
Bust. He's a bust.
he's
Listen,
not what
Three
you were
different
hoping he would
coach.
be.
I mean, he's had multiple offensive coordinators already.
3
That's a
offensive
lot.
coordinators in 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no
Basically the
recipe.
worst offensive line in football this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
No
don't put it
weapons.
all on Mac.
He's a
Yeah.
bust. He's a bust.
Well, when you're coming from Tom
I'm gonna
Brady-
say it. I'm gonna say it because as a fan, you want to see your team win, and when they're not winning, you got to put it on somebody. So
Oh,
you
are
could
so
say
spoiled, Chris. You
I am.
you
I
are,
am.
spoiled.
I'm putting it on Belichick.
I mean,
He put this team on the field. He
He's
built
got-
it. This is Belichick's baby.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like
That is true.
you're gonna
Well,
move him to the
I-
Chargers.
I-
They're gonna give you a 2nd-round pick.
I hope not. I still want Belichick to come back. He's
That's
like
fair.
the Greg Popovich of the NFL.
He's not like
Oh,
the
yeah.
Greg Popovich of the NFL.
Yes,
Greg
he
Popovich
is.
a good man.
Greg Popovich.
Bill Belichick is like the Grim Reaper. He's an evil person. Greg Popovich is a good man.
Listen, I want to see him come back. I want to see the Patriots organization bounce back. Like I said, I got a lot of hope because I'm gonna say it again. We've got 90 million. We got 90 million in cap space. We've got a high draft pick. It may not be the top 3 anymore, but we've got a high draft pick, and we have potential. If we can repair that line, we can have guys come back healthy, Matthew Judon, Christian Gonzalez, and we overhaul and get some wide receiver help, and we get some offensive line help. Then our rebuild process is going to be like that night and day. So I'm looking forward to it, guys. But it's getting to that time. Let's go ahead and knock out these final comments, and we'll go ahead and start with Jake. Any final comments regarding the show and anything you want to see next week? Anything at all?
Well, I mean, this is kill or be killed, as Deion Dawkins said, but also division game. The next 2 games are division games, and anything can happen when 2 teams
Sunday.
battle it out. I mean, division rivals. So, Chris, I hope we handle our business. But listen, I'm not taking any team for granted, especially a division rival like yourself. So, may the best team win, and go Bills, baby.
Let's go, Anthony. Go ahead and shoot. What you got to say for us, Anthony?
I'm gonna take this away from the actual NFL and talk about fantasy football for a second. Go ahead and answer Brett's question.
Yes.
Now, Brett asked me, am I more confident that the Jets are going to win or that I'm going to win? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm way more confident that I'm going to win because unlike the actual New York Jets, I have Christian McCaffrey on my team.
There you go. That's all you need.
I have actual quarterback play. I've got wide receivers that are worth playing. I am going to dominate this week. I'm going to win the championship for the first annual Nickel City Mafia Super Bowl. I guess
We have to get a trophy.
In the Mafia Fantasy Football Super Bowl. That's what we're going to call it.
Yes.
And I'm taking it down. I have no fear.
Listen, I thought it was going to be either me or Brett in that final game, or even Mike. One of us. But I was, good to see Brett. Good to see. Sorry, it was going to be either me, Jake, or Mike in that final game against you, Anthony. So
I got
but it's good
smoked
to
in the first round, man.
Yeah, me too. My team did not perform, but it was good to see Brett out there making some, going deep in the playoffs. So it's gonna be a good game, and hopefully we do get like a trophy or a prize. I think all my leagues have something, so let's get something going. Yeah, let's get something going that we can have like a Nickel City Mafia tradition. It's gonna be fun moving
Like
forward,
the league,
so.
we could pass around. We could do the Shiva.
Yeah.
I love it.
Maybe I can get a little icon next to my name or something with like a crown.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's something right there, So we'll
That'd be
see. We'll
cool.
see. It's gonna be
Yeah.
a good game. I'm looking forward to it. Keith, let's go ahead and get your concluding comments.
Well, first and foremost, Anthony, good luck in the championship. You as well, Brett. Uh, you guys were great this year, and it's going to be fun to see who wins that. As far as the Dolphins are concerned, they control their own destiny. They win these next two games, they're the number one seed in the AFC. That's how this is going to work. So if they want to prove the naysayers wrong, the doubters wrong, if they want to earn their spot as the top team in the AFC, this is their chance to do it. And I'm looking forward to Sunday. I'm not going to move ahead to the Bills game just yet, but I'm looking forward to Sunday to see what they have for this Ravens team. It's going to be a lot of fun.
For sure, for sure. I'm hoping to see an offensive fireworks going there. I mean, I didn't see it this week, so I'm hoping that I see it. I didn't see it last week, so I'm hoping I see it this week. It's going to be a good game. Hoping we see some, talent on both sides of the ball, and I'm hoping it's not just a butt kicking for the Ravens like a lot of people are predicting. But at the same time, I want the Dolphins to lose. So we shall see. We shall see. Either way, good. Either way, good luck to you, Keith. Good luck to you guys. And as for my concluding comments, I'm hoping we beat the Bills. I want us to beat the Bills like we've done early in the season, but at the same time, I don't want us to beat the Bills because I want that high draft pick. I want a quarterback coming moving forward. So if we lose the next two games of the season, it's fine. We're 4-11. The season's winding down. We got 2 more weeks left, including this one, and these wins right now don't mean anything to us. It's just taking away our potential pick. So. Love to see that Bailey Zappi stepped up and become that lead guy. Hopefully, we can trade Mac Jones in off season for a high pick. There's a team out there that needs a quarterback, and maybe he's fit better in their system than the New England system moving forward. I'm hoping Bill Belichick comes back. I'm just hoping that we go ahead and make some moves in this offseason and we get back to the dominance, the dynasty that we once were. So that's about it for me. I'm looking forward to it. And of course, guys, everyone, appreciate you guys participating. Jake, Anthony, Keith, it's always a pleasure being with you guys. Thank you for allowing me to host. And to everyone watching, thank you for the comments. Continue to like, subscribe, and follow us. We do the show every Tuesday starting at 8 o'clock, and it's been a pleasure serving you guys. As the season's winding down, we're going to go ahead and continue to work on that off-season content and, continue to provide good quality content for football. So, a lot of speculation working toward the draft, whatever the case may be. But we're going to be here for you guys every Tuesday at 8 o'clock. So, it's Chris from Pat Nation. Always a good show. We're signing out, guys. So, like I said, Pat's Nation.
Go Bills.
Get up.
Fins up.
Go Bills.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week, and have a good night. And continue to look at the Nickel City Mafia. We got some other shows go out throughout the week. Check out the channel, check out the page, and go ahead and look at them other shows. So, guys, have a good night.
All right. We'll see ya. Take care, guys.